Well, Donald Trump did an interview with influencer and now boxer Logan Paul. And there's a characteristic of this interview that, as I was reviewing it, really disturbed me. I was expecting to go into it and sort of grab the same nonsense that we're seeing from Trump in almost every appearance, the same rant, same rambles. All right. But something hit me differently here. And I want to talk about that. And like I said, it just is bad. Before doing that, though, let me just sort of get us started with playing a few clips from this interview. Again, if you're not familiar with Logan Paul, for a very long time, sort of in the online space, has been super well known for his YouTuber entertainment content, and then transitioned into being a boxer. And so that's that. And I guess he's a supporter of Trump now. So I didn't know that either. But here is the first moment where Trump gets asked, what's your message for young people who want to make it in this country, want to realize the American dream? And Trump says,
Even just be able to say that is insane. But my question is, for other young people in this country who are looking to get ahead, because for a lot of them, times are tough right now.
It's very tough.
What would you say to them, kids who want to pursue their own version of the American dream and try to achieve their wildest dreams and make it all come true?
I would say very simply, honestly, vote for Trump.
I'm just thinking about how 70% of our audience is not subscribed to the channel. Please. We're trying to make it different every day. So today's was that. And please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much.
Because with Biden, you're never going to do it. This country's going to hell. Vote for Trump. You know, we're doing great with youth. We're doing great with African Americans, with Hispanic Americans.
Okay. We're doing great with youth. And his response to, what do you say to people who want to,
It's doing fine.
like I said, realize the American dream and fulfill their full potential? Vote for Trump. One track mind, that Donald Trump. Then you have this.
You should make a diss track on him.
Yeah, we'll do something. We'll do something.
I actually wanted to start there.
Go ahead.
Because one thing that I just can't seem to wrap my head around it is, you got these felony convictions and a lot of them, like more than Al Capone, right? And there was an uprising and people showed you their support with their donations. And a lot of people are saying it points out that actually the unjust nature of America's justice system. So my question is, like, if that is your belief, if that is their belief, why do you have the desire to give your time and energy to a country or a system that's trying to take you down?
So I ran twice. I did much better the second time than the first time. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have done this. But we had it going like this country has never been going.
All right, and then he just rambles, and they're coming from jails, they're coming from insane asylums, blah, 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 all the stuff that we've addressed in the past. And I guess let's jump over, and then I'll play more clips for you from the actual interview part of it. And I'll play this that really embodies what it is that horrifies me about this and what this represents.
It's for you guys.
Oh, no way. We got gifts.
They sell for a lot of money, this thing.
Oh, no way. Thank you, President.
Here you go. They split it up. Here's
amazing.
This is
Is this your mugshot?
yeah, can you believe it?
You're a gangster.
This is what we're reduced to.
You're a gangster.
No way.
Should we put them on now?
Yeah.
That's
Isn't it crazy?
That's amazing.
And it sells. Well, Elvis had one. Frank Sinatra had one.
This shirt?
But we've eclipsed them.
No, not that shirt. He said this shirt. No, they had mug shots is what Trump was trying to say. So you might think, what the heck could I possibly take from that would be so significant? What I was realizing while watching this, as someone who grew up, not a fan of Logan Paul, but just hearing a lot about Logan Paul and seeing his videos and, oh my gosh, it's shocking to see as I do this job and come across more and more interviews Trump's doing, people who are coming out in support of him. People who clearly, and I say this with, I'm going to have a hard time delivering this sentence, with all the respect in the world to Logan Paul, I just don't think that a lot of people put in the time to really understand what it is that they're doing by bolstering the campaign of Trump, if that makes sense. And so the fact that so flippantly and casually they could normalize who Trump is with this sort of, oh, we're exchanging merch and then we're going to have a fun interview where we ask you about aliens, as I'll get to, and you're just such a funny guy, and when you go to UFC, people cheer, so you must be a man's man, yeah, woo. Not clearly taking the time to understand what it is that Trump actually represents. At one point, they get him to say, you're fired. They say, you should do a diss track on Biden. They think he's quote-unquote gangster for having a mugshot. It's all silly and goofy until the very democratic republic that Logan Paul, to his credit, was talking about this country specifically, giving him the opportunities to be as successful as he's become. Well, that country doesn't exist in the form that it currently does, and those opportunities don't exist if our republic crumbles, which is what Trump threatens to do and tried to do last time. And I know this sounds like me coming in and just being such a Debbie Downer for people trying to have a good time, but that's what we have to inject into these conversations. Because there, the mugshot that's on the shirt that Logan Paul thinks is so cool is a mugshot related to a case involving Trump quite literally trying to end our democratic process. Is that funny? Is that a type of moment? I don't think it is. And that's what freaks me out, is that really influential people don't see, and the reason I'm saying they don't take the time to understand Trump is because I've talked to so many people with similar perceptions of Trump as what I'm seeing exuding here from Logan Paul. Just sort of the, yeah, he's a man, he's Trump. And always, they don't know much about Trump. I'm not insulting them as a person, they're intelligent. I'm saying they don't actually know about the fake elector scheme. They don't know about the particulars of how Trump was trying to get local officials to overturn the election. They don't know that he's talking about going after media outlets in second term. They don't know that he called for the termination of the Constitution. They don't know that all these people around him who worked with him, former generals, former chiefs of staff, former defense secretaries, all these different positions around him, seeing him make the critical decision of saying he's a threat to democracy, don't let him back into positions of power. And so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, saying they just didn't take the time to understand and are going off of aesthetics. Trump's the man, you're fired, yeah! Instead of understanding what he actually represents, because the alternative scenario is they have taken the time and they are okay with our democracy falling apart. Okay, so that's what really bothers me, is this whole interview is so fun and goofy and Trump's just trying to be a guy's guy, and this really makes me seem like a guy's guy, doesn't it? And it's them giving the credibility they have with their audience, people who probably aren't that politically active but might go vote now because of this. They're giving that credibility to Trump. They're normalizing him instead of asking one single question about the horrific things he's planning on doing and tried to do and has done. So that's that. Here's more.
That sentiment that CNN might be fair to you,
They might be.
is a bit of a departure
I'd
from
say
your
a
normal
good 10% chance.
from your normal hardline stance. Do you think that you're starting to come around or soften your views on some of the networks that you may have not gotten along with in the past?
No, they're fake news.
Yeah, fake news.
No, they're so bad. One of the good terms, right? Fake news. But no, I don't think so. I thought maybe, I had one with Caitlin Collins about 4 or 5 months ago. It was one of the highest rated shows they've ever had. And I really thought they were going to go maybe sort of in the middle. But I was wrong about, as I'm getting on and I'm hearing the way I'm being announced, they said, hey, these people are playing hardball. They're making a big mistake. But
Fake news. That was one of your best phrases. Yeah. God, man, you know how to come up with phrases. Or you could ask him, you know how you call people fake news? Well, can I read to you this post where you said the government should come down hard on MSNBC? Something that's an open violation of the First Amendment? Or, hey, we on this platform, I'm just assuming, let's just assume that Logan Paul, he's all about respecting women, okay? And on that note, let me ask you. You were found civilly liable for rape. Why should you be the Party of Families Values nominee? But no, nothing on that. And people are doing this.
All the time.
Again,
No, the fact that I get
as clips are just playing. The reason why I'm so revved up about this is this. I'm almost seeing in Logan Paul and the other guy 13 people that I've talked to in the last few months in my own life who are very similar. And they just come from a sort of conservative background, or they're in a sort of conservative environment currently. And thus, they think culturally, Trump's my guy, right? With no understanding of why it is that people are sounding the alarm about him. Not just liberals like myself, but people who were longtime Republicans, some who were Trump loyalists for a period of time, saying he could end our democratic republic. And so to not press him on that when you have the chance to talk to him is a disgrace.
get along with Kim Jong-un, North Korea.
That's crazy.
President Xi.
That's crazy.
It's all good stuff getting along, but nobody ever took money out of China like me. I took hundreds of billions of dollars out in the form of tariffs and taxes. No other president took in not 10 cents. And, you know, China built their military because of the United States. The United States was giving them hundreds of billions of dollars a year in excess flow. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. But we...
Yeah, so of course the tariffs were not paid by China. They're paid by U.S. companies. That's one. You could put together a pretty succinct list of things Trump's almost definitely going to say in an interview. And that's one of them. But obviously they haven't gone through and prepared for that, unfortunately. Here's more.
Pills, 12,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. There's so many people out there on the streets right now without access to resources with mental health care, rehabilitation centers.
Yeah.
What's your plan to continue to stem the flow of fentanyl into the country, as well as help the people who have already fallen victim to the opiate epidemic?
So when I took over, you know, it was drug infested. When I ran in 2016, I ran on the border. And I fixed the border, and I couldn't even use it in 2020 in the campaign, even though I got millions of more votes than I got the first time. I couldn't talk about the border because...
Yeah, and then on to the lies about that. But that's a question that's a real question, right? Which is why I included it. The opioid epidemic. But again, why you have a chance to talk to Trump, Biden or Trump, those are the two highest stakes interviews you could have. And you don't just Google, if you Google maybe Trump border bill, you'd probably find out what I'm about to say. Why don't you ask fentanyl? He's talking about fentanyl. Great question to bring up. It is a crisis. The Stop Fentanyl Act was in this bipartisan border deal. Trump, you single-handedly, by convincing MAG Republicans to obstruct this legislation because you wanted to hurt Biden as much as possible in election year, even though this legislation is obviously something that's good, even by Trump's standards, you single-handedly prevented this legislation, and in it, we have the Stop Fentanyl Act. Investments that would help to stop fentanyl from getting across the southern border. So more fentanyl is currently getting into the United States because we can't invest in this technology that would have been in this bipartisan border deal. Specifically, actually, these scanners or sensors that are there, but it takes a certain amount of resources to actually install them, and that would have been a part of this deal. And it's not happening because it was shot down by Republicans, because Trump asked them to, because he wants the problem to be as bad as possible so that he can run on it against Biden. So the question is a real one, but didn't it take just a few seconds to research what has been a massive news item on the border, which is Trump shooting down this deal? Whew. Again, shocking and horrifying that people could go into a conversation with Trump knowing there are people out there, even if they think they're going to disagree, there are people out there saying that he's a threat to democracy, that he's one of the most dishonest figures we've had in American politics, all these horrible things. He has the lowest character of any figure in a super long time in American politics. And you don't take the time to just see if maybe they're right. Just look into it. And even if you disagree, have some questions, devil's advocate questions. Okay, the left says that you putting together a fake elector scheme, pressuring local officials to engage in fraud, inciting a mob to attack the Capitol, and calling for the termination of the Constitution, and wanting to go after media, that all of that is not good for democracy. What's your response? But none of it. Or even on the issue he's bringing up, the Stop Fentanyl Act. We could have made progress on this, but Trump prevented it.
There's something happening. There are unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
So it's such a question I do get a lot, and it's such an interesting question. I've met with pilots that look just like you, actually. Okay, they have more of a crew cut. Okay, they look like him, and they look like you. Some of them look like you,
A little fatter.
but these are perfect people.
Okay.
And they're not
crazy.
conspiratorial. They're not crazy.
Yeah.
And they tell me stories that they've seen things that you wouldn't believe. These are not people that you would say, gee,
no way.
oh, that's
No way.
okay.
President of the United States.
But
I said, was your
Who
phone
is it?
silent?
That's Joe Biden wanting to do an interview. So I met with pilots, like beautiful, Tom Cruise, but taller.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Handsome, perfect people. Sir, there was something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster than my super jet fighter plane. And I look at these guys, and they really mean it.
Yeah.
And
Right. So nothing new on that front, except for why does it matter if they're handsome? Just handsome as ever, sexy. I questioned my sexuality when this pilot came up to me, and he said, "Sir," and I said, "I can't hear you. You're too gorgeous. All I hear is, I'm gorgeous coming out of your mouth." Very strange. But yeah, aliens. There's a question about that. We have time for the alien question, but not questions about real questions about his legal cases, real questions about his threat to democracy, real questions about his vile dehumanizing rhetoric, real questions about his obstruction of solutions at the border, etc. And I just don't know if you have any influence or not. If you were just anyone and you got to interview Trump, why you wouldn't bring those subjects to the table? Obviously, I'm sure that was a part of the agreement if they're going to do this interview, but to not even pounce it on him. And also, if you have influence, knowing that you could impact people's voting decisions and seemingly flippantly do this. But again, that's me trying to give them all the benefit of the doubt in the world. Maybe they know every single detail. They definitely don't, but let's just assume every single detail of all the things that we talk about on a daily basis, and they're good with it. They want to support that authoritarian project. But the reason I'm assuming not is because the way they were speaking throughout this whole interview, I watched the whole thing, reminded me so much of so many incredibly intelligent, to be clear, incredibly intelligent people, good people, all of that, who just, because their life's going on, they don't have much time to focus on politics. But then they somehow, because of cultural associations and because of vibe, aesthetic stuff, end up thinking they're supportive of Trump and then really aggressively supporting him with not really the evidence to bolster the arguments. So that's why I'm feeling that way, coming from a personal set of experiences, one super recently that has really stuck with me. And it is disturbing that we may, if it were to happen, I have hope that it won't, but if we were to lose our democracy, one of the components necessary for that to happen is people who aren't informed enough making a decision they wouldn't otherwise make if they were. Frightening. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments. If you want to get the daily bonus show, you can do so by clicking the join button below.